Good morning and welcome back to Signature Chefs of Orlando. My name is Andrew Bernier and I'm the Senior Sous Chef here at the JW Marriott. I'd like to welcome you back to Whisper Creek Farms. My day-to-day functions, I oversee all catered functions at the JW Marriott, and today we'll be demonstrating some savory dishes from South America. I'm going to start you off with a little bit of Humita, which is a savory corn pudding. And we're going to start off with fresh Zellwood corn right here out of Florida. And what you want to do is basically shuck your corn. And as you're shucking, making sure that you clear of all fibers to make sure your dish is nice and clean. We're taking a regular box cutter and basically scraping right off. As you're scraping, you want to make sure you catch all that starch, the natural starches coming out from the corn. Humita is basically from South America, and it's like I said, a savory pudding. And basically it's made of sugar, milk, caramelized onions, and fresh corn. It can be compared to polenta. We hit it with a little touch of red chili flakes just to give a little heat off the top, and then fresh basil, which I picked earlier from our Whisper Creek Farms. And as you can see, all the natural juices that's coming off of this corn is ripe, it's in season, and you'll have the natural sweetness coming right off as well. All right, if you follow me right over, I have a nice cast iron skillet right here that's going to be getting a little bit warm. Drop a little bit of butter in there just to get it melted. And I got about a small yellow onion that I'm actually going to add to this. And I'm going to saute it until it gets translucent, basically gets clear, and the natural sugars from the onions are released. As you can see, butter makes everything taste better. So as you can see, all the fresh shucked corn scraped off, box scraper, and then all the natural juices that's coming right off of that as well. Whole process takes about a minute or two once your pot is hot. And as I said before, your onions get translucent, which is basically you can see through the onions. Now for this recipe, it calls for about 6 whole corns, freshly shucked. You want to use a rubber spatula to make sure you get all the edges on your pot that you're using. We're actually going to add a touch of sugar right into it, about a teaspoon. A little touch of chili flakes into it, give it a little heat. With your sweetness and the heat, it'll be perfect. A little fresh cracked black pepper. Some kosher salt. As that's cooking down, you want to add about 1/8 of a cup of whole milk. And actually let it cook in with the starches of the corn. While that's cooking down, I'm actually going to be making a Romesco sauce to go with some fresh Prince Edward Island mussels. So I've got right here about 2 bell peppers washed and ready to go, as well as 1 fresh poblano pepper. What I'm going to do is add a little bit of salt, fresh black pepper, and just about a teaspoon of pure virgin olive oil. And you want to make sure you coat all your peppers thoroughly. And what we're going to do is actually char it on the grill over these lit coals. And this will help to char the skin right off of it. Get you that nice smoky flavor as you make your Romesco sauce. We added about 1/8 of a cup of whole milk. We're gonna add another 1/8, just of the milk starting to absorb into the corn and the starch is starting to cook down. You want to make sure that you evenly rotate every few minutes your peppers as you're charring them on the grill. And this helps it from keep getting burned, as well as you'll start to notice a black char. That's actually the skin getting charred from the hot ashes. While that's being done, I got some yellow onions right here that I'm also going to caramelize. Caramelizing is actually using the natural sugars from the onion that I'm going to add to my Romesco sauce. It helps to cut that bite off of raw onions. One thing you want to make sure, especially when you're caramelizing, that you want to make sure that your saute pan is hot, as well as your oil is added and it's hot before you add any proteins or starches or vegetables too. Like I said, humita is basically, it's a savory corn pudding, where it can be compared to polenta, which is going to be a little more chunkier than polenta. And as it cooks down, it's going to be sweet, spicy, and I'm going to hit it with a fresh touch of basil, which I picked from the garden earlier. Flame up a little more. Sure that fire gets super hot, so as you start caramelizing, the sugar start coming right out. Also as well, I have a cauldron right on the fire as well to steam off and make almost like a fresh stew of mussels, tomatoes, garlic, basil, some white wine, and some whole butter. You can see your corn pudding is starting to cook on the surrounding edges. You want to make sure you constantly stir it so it doesn't stick or burn to the bottom. As you can see, nice char coming off your poblano right now. You want to constantly move, like I said, maybe every minute or two. And you can actually buy roasted red peppers or poblanos in your store, but if you want to get the fresh, full flavor and you want nice smoky, this is the right way to do it right here. You can hear the nice little sizzle coming off. That means your saute pot is ready to go. Your oil is hot. Start your onions caramelizing. Now I have some Prince Edward Island mussels straight out of Canada, cold water. And you want to make sure when you get mussels especially, sometimes there's what's called beards on them. And you want to make sure those are pulled right off and cleaned, as well as submerging them for at least a minute or two in icy salt water to regurgitate any sand that they may have inside of them. So I got about a tablespoon of pure virgin olive oil in the cauldron. Be adding the mussels to that to start to steam off. Let those mussels go for about 2 or 3 minutes. Make sure you coat your onions. Let's pull this pudding off a little bit. Let it start to slow simmer as the onions really start to cook down. You can see the nice char coming off your peppers right now. This whole process takes about 10 to 15 minutes, which I have some pre-done already. But I just wanted to make sure that you see start to finish process. As your mussels is going, you'll add about an ounce or 2 of garlic. Make sure you get that in there. Very important you don't add your garlic first, because you're dealing with hot oil, your garlic will burn. And as it starts to cook down, you'll start to see your mussels actually open up. That's when you know they're done. You can see now your pudding, the starches are starting to cook down. The milk is getting evaporated and incorporated with your corn. Got some fresh tomatoes right here as well. Tomatoes are coming into season right now and are amazing. Add them right in to your mussels. As they'll start to stew down, the juices from the tomatoes as well give a nice touch to the mussels. I've got some fresh basil here as well. We're gonna add into the Humita. So you can see it's gonna start to bubble right in the middle. Let me know that it's almost done. Like I said, as you start to see the skin start to bubble and turn black, that's your char. Actually, the natural fire is burning the skin right off of it. Put those in a bowl. Actually gonna set these aside and let it rest. As it rests, what will happen is the skin will start to get more charred, and we'll peel those off and wash it. And if you see right here, this is how your finished product looks. This is your roasted red peppers, skin off, as you can see. You peel the skin right off of it, de-seeded, de-stemmed, poblano peppers as well. We'll take about a quarter cup of white wine. Any white wine will do. You can go to your nearest Publix or supermarket. You just want to get something cheap. You don't want to spend 20 to 30 bottles on a good bottle of wine for cooking. So that as well keep the process of steaming the mussels open. As every good chef knows, you need to taste as you go. Make sure you have enough salt, pepper, flavor profiles are there. A little touch more salt, we're good to go. Now we remove this from the direct fire just to make sure that just keep slowly cooking, but it's warm and ready for service. As that white wine is cooking down, I'm gonna put about a tablespoon of fresh chopped parsley as well. Add some fresh basil. Like I said, butter makes everything taste better, so we're gonna put about a half a pound of butter in here. Let that incorporate. Using a cauldron is a good way. It's a good keeper of heat, as well as you don't have to keep an eye on it as so much, because it'll actually just hold heat and slow cook as the process. All right, if you'll follow me over, I'll make your Romesco sauce. This will actually be a topping for your mussels. Now this is what we call a Vitamix, which is a high-powered blender. And as you can see, it has a low speed and a high speed. And you use this when you want to make purees or sauces extra smooth with a silky consistency. So since this is a ready-to-eat product, we'll make sure we wear gloves. So what I have here for your Romesco sauce is roasted red peppers, grilled right on, skin removed, poblano peppers. I've got some toasted almonds as well as toasted panko breadcrumbs, okay? It's gonna take about one or two. Go right into your blender. One whole poblano as well. Poblanos gives a little kick to it, but it also has a nice smoky tendency to it. About a tablespoon, just to make sure there's some kind of liquid in there to help puree down your peppers. Now you want to make sure that power is off as well, and you start off on a low speed. So as that's going, some nice sauteed onions right here. Like I said, you want to make sure you cook them out, get some of that bite right off of raw onions. Touch of fresh cracked black pepper, as well as kosher salt. We're gonna actually puree down the onions as well. As you're doing that, just make sure you move it around. You haven't missed anything, and it's pretty smooth consistency. About a teaspoon of panko toasted crumbs. And then also toasted slivered almonds. Tasting spoons always on your station. Make sure you taste your product. Yeah, nice little smoky, nutty flavor right onto that, and that'll go perfect with your mussels as they're coming out. As you can see, you got a nice little bubble fresh right onto your mussels. And this can be served with grilled bread. You know, gives it a nice little, you can use the juices too. It's a sopping for your bread. And as you can see, mussels are open. They're not overcooked to turn rubber. They're perfect. And actually we'll be eating this later family style. We're not going to do individual portions. Everything is going to be family style. So you got the nice tomato, fresh basil, a little white wine, a little butter. Then as a finished product, you have your Romesco sauce on the side, which you can either put it right on the top. So as you can see, fresh mussels, Romesco sauce, and then as well as you have Humita, which is your savory corn pudding. So thank you guys, enjoy.